Let me reveal a truth not written in any scroll before, but sung through time itself. How Koji Kondo wove Zelda's music into one great tapestry, connecting them all and the legend bound by sound. At the heart of Zelda's music lie three primary leitmotifs, the triforce of Zelda music. Let's start with these obvious ones and work our way down, shall we? The first one of these is Zelda's lullaby. Born in A Link to the Past, a gentle, courtly melody, it became the royal seal of Hyrule. In Ocarina of Time, it functions literally as proof of the royal bloodline, opening doors that only those connected to the throne may pass. Later in Wind Waker and in Twilight Princess, the same lullaby returns, slowed and shadowed, as Princess Zelda's theme, cloaked in sorrow but carrying the same identity. We can hear Zelda's motif obscured within the main theme melody. Zelda's lullaby is used and remixed in countless games throughout the series, even in Breath of the Wild as part of the Hyrule Castle theme, and it echoes again in Tears of the Kingdom. The second seed is the overworld theme from the very first Legend of Zelda. Bold, adventurous, marching forward in 4/4 time, it became the anthem of courage itself. It resurfaces in Link's Awakening, threads through Majora's Mask, and is stitched into the Wind Waker's ocean theme. It continues to echo through arrangements such as Mount Crenel in the Minish Cap and countless remixes across the ages, like Twilight Princess's Hyrule Field, A Link Between Worlds Milk Bar, and the subtle Breath of the Wild references. Where the lullaby speaks of peace, wisdom, and royalty, the overworld declares exploration and bravery. Together, these two themes form the base of our triforce of music: Zelda's lullaby for wisdom, the overworld theme for courage, and, as we shall soon see, Ganon's theme for power. Kondo never left his themes to rest. He transformed them. Sheik's theme in Ocarina of Time quietly reshapes the intervals and progression of Zelda's lullaby, revealing Sheik's true identity in sound long before the truth is shown on screen. Ever catch this? Listen and tell me what you think in the comments. In Skyward Sword, the Ballad of the Goddess is literally Zelda's lullaby played backward, a retrograde mirror for a story set at the mythic dawn of Hyrule. In Breath of the Wild, the frantic Guardian battle theme hides an inversion of Zelda's lullaby intervals, disguising royal bloodlines within the terror of these machines. These are deliberate masks, melodies turned upon themselves like riddles whispered by the wind. When The Legend of Zelda stepped into 3D, Kondo created the grammar of the ocarina. With only a few notes available, he wrote more melodies like Zelda's Lullaby, Eponia's Song, Soria's Song, the Song of Time, the Sun Song, and the Song of Storms. They are short, singable, and easy to remember, but they work together as mantras that lodge in memory and feel as though they have always existed, giving birth to a new signature Zelda style of music. The Song of Time is perhaps the most profound of these other songs, not only central to the flow of days in Ocarina of Time and the 3-day cycle of Majora's Mask, but emerging in Breath of the Wild as the mournful Temple of Time theme. The Gate of Time from Skyward Sword shows subtle hints of this motif hidden within its intervals. This motif is heard at the entrance to Twilight Princess's Temple of Time as well. Sweet. The Song of Storms is itself a paradox. Learn from the man who first learned it from Link himself, a melody caught in a circle of time. Its spirit appears again in Majora's Mask, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, Four Swords Adventures, Twilight Princess, Spirit Tracks, A Link Between Worlds, and even faintly in Breath of the Wild. Why they didn't throw this song in for the shrine quest called A Song of Storms, we may never know, but it was a great opportunity, no doubt. Anyways, the Sunrise motif, aka the Sun Song, first heard in Ocarina of Time's Hyrule Field and learned on Ocarina in the Graveyard, returns in Majora's Mask's Termina Field, Early Morning, the Wind Waker's Great Sea Early Rising, Twilight Princess's Hyrule Field Dawning, and subtly in the daybreaks of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. a fanfare of light forever tied to the dawning light. Time to shine and bop. Epona's song. It gives the horse her own signature horse motif, I guess you could call it, appearing in Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Twilight Princess, used to call Epona. Pretty sure this tune will be living in my head rent-free forever, and I'm okay with that. Oh, and we can hear Milan singing the first few notes here in good old Minish Cap, and again in Breath of the Wild and Tears' Horse Stables. Some melodies became the soul of places. Kakariko Village first appeared in A Link to the Past, returned in Ocarina of Time, in Four Swords Adventures, and gained a mournful variation in Twilight Princess, and rose again in Breath of the Wild. Even in Wind Waker's Windfall Island theme, we can spot the leitmotif. Is Windfall Wind Waker's Kakariko of the sea? Generations pass, but the town's heart beats to the same music. We can hear the theme in The Fishing Hole in Ocarina of Time too. Don't know why, but I'm okay with that. The Hyrule Castle theme first appears in A Link to the Past and is reused directly in Four Swords Adventures and A Link Between Worlds. In Breath of the Wild, it returns in a new form that blends its original melody with Zelda's lullaby and Ganon's motif, creating a musical clash of royal lineage and looming power. Tears of the Kingdom continues this lineage with echoes of the same theme in its castle sequences. Some motifs serve as sacred signatures. The beautiful arpeggios of the Great Fairy's Fountain theme glimmer in nearly every Zelda game. The list goes on for a while. Whether in 8-bit or full orchestra, the rising figure means one thing: sanctuary. And maybe a suggestive moan or two. This motif is among the most memorable in the Zelda timeline. Ah, traveler. Few melodies in Hyrule carry the weight of destiny like the one heard when the Master Sword is claimed. In Ocarina of Time, the Master Sword leitmotif, or pedestal motif, first sings as Link draws the blade in the Temple of Time, a solemn ascent that marks his crossing into legend. The same motif rises again in The Wind Waker, when the sword is freed from its pedestal beneath Hyrule Castle, time itself held still around it. In Twilight Princess, it echoes through the sacred grove as the hero reclaims the blade of evil's bane. Centuries later, in Breath of the Wild, the melody returns slowed and reverent as the sword is pulled from the pedestal in Korok Forest. And, in Tears of the Kingdom, its voice reaches a new height when Zelda restores the blade and returns it to Link across time. Each era changes its clothing, but the melody never forgets its purpose. When the sword awakens, so does the hero. The item, rupee, puzzle completion, and heart container leitmotifs are some of the most obvious and memorable leitmotifs in The Legend of Zelda. We hear these in every single game released, and it never gets old. Even in failure, Hyrule remembers its melody. The very first game over theme from the original Legend of Zelda set the tone. A short, solemn descent, like a candle sputtering in the dark. That same jingle returned in Zelda 2, barely changed, as though the world itself refused to forget. When A Link to the Past arrived, the tune was reborn with warmer instruments, but the exact same melodic shape. And, in Link's Awakening, it whispered again when the hero fell. The Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons carried it forward once more, preserving the lineage note for note. Though later games forged new endings for failure, those early titles all died to the same song, proof that even defeat in Hyrule has a heritage. The tribes of Hyrule each carry their own crest and music too. The Kokiri and Korok are forever bound to the leitmotifs of Saria and the Kokiri Forest. The Kokiri motif, first played in Ocarina of Time's Kokiri Forest, and later remixed by Wind Waker's Forest Haven. Saria's motif, also first heard in Ocarina of Time's Lost Woods, is heard again exactly the same in the Woods of Mystery theme, and heard again in Twilight Princess's Sacred Grove theme. Fans have pointed out traces of Saria's motif within Breath of the Wild's Lost Woods theme. If you listen closely, it really does sound like a melancholic, dreamlike rendering of the theme's first 3 notes. Kinda spooky if you ask me. The Gorons and their leitmotif beat their drums to Goron City in Ocarina of Time, echoed in Majora's Mask, Goron Village, Twilight Princess's Death Mountain, and roaring again in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. We can catch it in Oracle of Ages' Rolling Ridge, in Spirit Tracks, and Phantom Hourglass's Goron Island 2. The Zora glide upon Zora's domain, born in Ocarina of Time, mirrored in Majora's Mask's Zora Hall, frozen in the waters of Twilight Princess, and reborn in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom's Zora's domain. The Serenade of Water, tied to Princess Ruto's motif, reappears in Rutella's theme in Twilight Princess, hinting towards the Zora bloodline lineage. The Rito first soared with Dragon Roost Island in The Wind Waker, later slowed into Rito Village in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and even reappears in battle with Colgera's theme, where Molgera's motif from The Wind Waker's Wind Temple boss fight is also tucked inside. It just makes sense that the boss theme of the Wind Temple has hints pointing to the Rito people. There's gotta be something to that. Now for the house theme. First appeared in Ocarina of Time, was carried into Majora's Mask, returned in Skyward Sword's Skyloft Interiors, and appearing in the Minish Cap under the label of Shop Theme. If you listen closely to the first 5 or so notes of Kokiri Forest's melody, it is strangely reminiscent of the intro notes and intervals of the house theme we hear. I believe this is to intuitively give that home-like vibe. And where is Link's home? Kokiri Forest. The other quote-unquote shop theme haunts the magic shop of A Link to the Past. Across the Oracles games, we met it again as the mischievous Syrup's shop theme. Out at sea, the traveling merchant brings his own refrain, the Beatles' shop theme, heard in The Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, and Skyward Sword, each time tied to his eccentric calls of "thank you." And, for those who prefer to wander the shadows of Termina, the Curiosity shop theme in Majora's Mask gives us a darker shop leitmotif, jazz-tinged and secretive, but still part of this family. This song was first heard in the Marine Research Facility of Ocarina of Time. Not a shop, but still good. In Breath of the Wild, silence dominates. Yet, silence makes the echoes stronger. The Temple of Time theme is a mournful rendering of the Song of Time. The Hyrule Castle theme braids together Zelda's lullaby and Ganon's theme. In Tears of the Kingdom, the tradition continues with new cues recalling these archetypal seeds, reminding us that the past never truly leaves. We love you, Koji. Now for the final piece of the triforce of Zelda music, Ganon's motif. In A Link to the Past, his battle music first carved out the dark chromatic steps and tritones that mark his presence. In Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf's theme brooded on those same intervals during cutscenes and swelled into fury in the final battle. The Wind Waker wove his motif into cutscenes, phantom battles, and the last duel. Twilight Princess clothed it in heavy orchestration across the castle and final fight, even when his form shifted to Calamity Ganon in Breath of the Wild, or the Demon King Ganondorf in Tears of the Kingdom. The same sinister DNA remained. In Skyward Sword, Demise's theme serves as the primordial ancestor of Ganon's motif, carrying the same dark chromatic descent before the villain himself was ever born. Why does it all feel so inevitable? Koji Kondo built his music like myths. His melodies can be reversed, inverted, reharmonized, or disguised, but they never lose their essence. He planted them as seeds that would grow into every corner of Hyrule. Thus, each Zelda game teaches you its musical language. By the time you hear a new theme, you already know it in your bones. Through these connections, the music itself becomes Hyrule's memory, binding every age together. You're watching another episode of the Root Note Roost here on The Bop. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for much more to come. Bye-bye.